Hello and welcome back to A Shot of Wildlife. Those of you who've been following the channel for a while will know that I've had some big news recently in that I am going to become a father this year, which is brilliant of course, but it does mean lots of changes. So at the moment we're packing up the house and we're moving to somewhere a bit more rural, which would be great for these videos, but it does mean that my time is quite pressed at the moment. So I've just come to the outskirts of Norwich to spend a couple of hours and hopefully I'm going to find some wildlife to show you. Yeah, let's just see if I can find some wildlife and I'll talk about it and we'll go from there. This is Beauthorpe Southern Park, which is normally quite dry with a narrow river and a couple of small ponds. Thanks to all the recent rain, it was a little bit damper than usual, but this hadn't scared away the wildlife. Before I even got through the gate, I noticed this male great spotted woodpecker at the top of a dead tree. You can tell that it's a male from the red patch on the back of its head. And it was off. Just as I made it into the park, I spotted another usually skittish bird, a Eurasian jay. Despite appearances, these are members of the crow family and are related to magpies, rooks and even ravens. Like their less colourful cousins, they are very intelligent and often cache food during the autumn to retrieve again during the winter. Hopefully, not all of this one's food has been washed away. Well, this is brilliant. When I saw that it was flooded, I was panicking thinking there wouldn't be anything to see. But I've only made it about 100 metres and there's so much wildlife here. There's the grey lags there, there's some mallards over there, some black-headed gulls, some teal, and yeah, I've not even seen most of the place I'm going to walk through. I just love wildlife. Grey lags are the most common species of goose in the UK and are the ancestors of the domestic goose which people keep. Just because there are two birds here, it does not mean that they are a male and a female. Around 1 in 5 pairs of grey lags are made up of 2 males. Whichever sex they are, these two were making the most of the high water and they weren't alone. Nearby, this pair of teal were having a paddle. These are the smallest duck species in Europe, and as with most waterfowl, the male is more colourful compared to the dull female. And that's also true for another duck that I could see, gadwall. Although this isn't the best time to show you that difference, as these were all males. I carried on through the park, being careful not to slip in the mud, but I didn't make it far before this white bird in the distance caught my eye. This is a little egret, a small member of the heron family and an opportunist. They'll eat anything they can catch and swallow, and this one has probably been served an all-you-can-eat buffet by the high water. Some other almost white birds nearby were the ever-present black-headed gulls. During the winter they lose their dark head markings, which are actually brown instead of black. Although they are still one of our most common gull species, their wintering numbers in the UK have dropped by around 30% over the past 30 years. The reason for this isn't yet clear. I carried on along what remained of the path. My planned route was too wet, so I took a bit of a detour and met this friendly horse. From here, I could also see a couple of other species of bird, including this gull. Quite a bit larger than the black-headed gull in the background is what I believe to be a Caspian gull, and this is the first time that I have knowingly seen one. They are closely related and very similar looking to the more common herring gull, and it's thought that less than 200 of them visit the UK every winter. Nearby, a more typical member of the crow family was searching along the water's edge for something to eat. This is a carrion crow, and as everybody must have a favourite type of crow, this is mine. Just like Eurasian jays, they do cache food, and they are even known to collect their food, move it, and then hide it again multiple times before eating it. Unfortunately, the way I was going to go is flooded, so I'm going to turn back and take my time, and I'm sure there'll be lots of wildlife that I've missed. But before I do that, I'm quite far away from any birds at the moment, anything that could be scared, so I'm going to try to take my drone up and just show you how flooded it actually is here. And then yeah, I'm going to head back around that way and hopefully show you some more wildlife. I love the landscape shots that drones can provide, but I would never risk scaring the wildlife that I'm trying to show you by flying too close. Almost all of the area here covered by water is usually dry grassland, but it's in a floodplain, so this is exactly what should happen when water levels rise. Hopefully, no one will build houses here in the future. Well, there's been a slight change of plan. Whilst I was flying a drone, a text just came through to say that there are some waxwings right in this area. Apparently they're only 150 yards from where I am right now. So I'm going to quickly take a detour and see if I can find them as well. I highly recommend joining local bird and wildlife groups. I get lots of tip-offs when interesting animals are seen, and it's a great way to meet like-minded people. My waxwing detour led me into a housing estate, and what did I get to show for my minimal effort? Well, it was a very fleeting glimpse, but I did manage to see them. They've actually gone back towards where I parked my car, so maybe I'm going to see them again. But for now, it's back to this normal wildlife walk and see what else I can find. The surprises just kept on coming when I soon noticed this green woodpecker in a nearby tree. Unlike the great spotted and their rarer cousin, the lesser spotted, green woodpeckers don't usually hammer trees with their beaks. Instead, a lot of their food comes from on the ground, and they are particularly fond of ants, often digging into anthills to get the developing larvae from inside. People sometimes ask how I get my wildlife footage, and a lot of that is down to my camera, which is a Nikon P950. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but I highly recommend it if you're a beginner looking for a cheap option to capture wildlife at a distance. As I made my way back towards my car, I stopped to watch this magpie having a bit of a clean. Look how iridescent blue their wings are in the right light. I also caught a distant view of this grey heron, just standing around as they usually do. Their prey is often quite large, so one meal can last them for a long time. So when they aren't hunting, they look like they're waiting grumpily for the next bus to arrive. Before I could make it back to the car, I bumped into a friendly face, but decided to stop filming. Well, I crashed into another bird watcher, and he was also getting text to say there was waxwings about as well, so we've spent the last half an hour chasing them up and down the road, but haven't actually managed to see them. However, as you can see, I am now back in the car, but hopefully I've shown you plenty of wildlife and you've enjoyed coming along. If you enjoyed this video, check out the one that's on the screen now for more British wildlife. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.